Are you ready for 2019 and are you hoping that this is going to be the year that you'll be falling pregnant? All right, let's get through these 5 fertility resolutions that you can put on your list and that will help you to conceive naturally. Hello lovelies, and welcome to another one of my videos in which I'll be sharing 5 fertility resolutions with you that you can put into place in 2019 to help you to conceive naturally faster. But first, let's put the doggy down so we can talk properly. I don't like boring lists that are copy-pasted all over the internet or that you could have come up with yourself. So I have made an effort to come up with fertility resolutions that will definitely boost your fertility, but that you might not have thought of. So comment below which of these fertility resolutions you like and that you will give a try, or if you have any fertility resolutions that I haven't mentioned and that you have come up with yourself. I would love to know. Fertility resolution number 1. I will make room for more white space in my life. So what do I mean with white space? Well, white space is what you see in your calendar or in your diary, the spots that you haven't filled in with to-dos or appointments. You need white space to breathe. You need white space to process disappointment, to allow yourself to make mistakes, to fall off the bandwagon. You need the buffer for interruptions, for unexpected life events. I love the term that is also used in organization because I love to organize. The term that is used is negative space. And I think that is such an interesting term, but it completely says what it means, basically. The whole idea is that, for example, if you have a cupboard that you want to put in a stack of clothes, that you put in only one stack of clothes and you have space on the side. So it's easy to pull things out, but especially easy to put things back in. And you can apply this to any type of organization in your house. And it's really the same for your life and for your fertility. You need space for buffer, as I said, for new ideas, for processing disappointment, because you know what? There's a possibility that you don't fall pregnant just right that first cycle. It's not that common. A healthy young couple has a 25% chance of conceiving the first cycle, and the older we get, the chances are just a little bit lower. Of course, we can boost those numbers, but you need to understand that it is not likely to happen instantly. That might cause for you to have some disappointment, and that's okay, but you need to have room for that disappointment. You also need some buffer in your relationship, and I'm going to talk a bit more about that later on. But if you give your husband a little bit of breathing room, a little bit of space, I think it will really benefit him, but it will definitely benefit you both in your fertility journey. And you know what? This white space, if you apply it in your life, then you will be a lot more relaxed. So on a hormonal level, there will be less room for producing stress hormones and more room for producing the right sex hormones to have that nice mature egg that will drop at the right moment. So if you weren't convinced before, then this should definitely convince you now. Fertility resolution number 2. I will learn to understand my cycle inside and out. This resolution is for the newbies and for the veterans. But first, the newbies. If you've never charted your cycle yet, this is the time. If you want to get pregnant faster, you have to chart because it will definitely improve your chances. Because you know what? We aren't actually fertile every day of our cycle. It's a maximum of 6 days. So you're going to want to know when those 6 days are. So charting can help you identify when you are fertile and when you can maximize your chances of falling pregnant. If you already know when your fertile window is and you've been making use of it for a while, then you need to look at another level of charting, and that is finding out what is going on with your hormones, because chances are something is off there. So even if you already know when your fertile window is, when you're ovulating, what your temperatures look like, now is the time to learn to analyze it. So for both of you groups, I have created a charting course. It's completely free and you can start today. It will teach you in a couple of lessons how to identify when you ovulate and when your fertile window opens and closes, and how you should take your temperature and ovulation test and check your cervical mucus. So that is for the newbies, or if you just need a recap of that. But at the end, I've also included 2 lessons that cover the 10 most common hormonal issues that you can pick up from charting. And the best thing, if you're under treatment, if you're trying things, you'll be able to see before and afters of your chart. So you'll be able to see if your hormones improve and if your fertility has gone up. Of course, I'll make sure to link in the description how you can sign up to that charting course. Fertility resolution number 3, I will nurture my relationship. So remember I was mentioning the white space and how it's not just important for you, but also for your relationship and for your husband? Well, that comes in right here. Because if you've only just started out to try for a baby, it might still feel very romantic and you're excited and you can't wait for that baby to come and that pregnancy test to show positive. But if you've been trying for a little longer, then I'm sure you already know that it can put a strain on your relationship. Trying to conceive can take the passion out of your relationship because making love is no longer making love. It's baby dancing, as you hear a lot on the internet. And it's possible that in the beginning your husband loves it that you initiate because you're fertile, but after a while he might feel a little bit used if you don't initiate as well where you're not fertile. So make sure that your husband feels loved throughout your entire cycle, and make sure that you both focus on making love and deepening your relationship, because after all, that's what you want, right? You want that baby to come out of a foundation of love. And newsflash, your baby's not going to be with you forever. When they grow up, they're going to leave you. And it's just going to be the two of you. And you better make sure today that you're best friends then, and that your love life is even better quality then than it is today. You didn't think that was possible? Trust me, it really is. And it should be something that you're aiming for. Fertility resolution number 4, I will replace one bad habit for one good habit. You know, there's no point in having this incredible list of new habits that you want to implement, because we all know that it's really difficult to follow through on them. Everybody knows that after a couple of weeks, people have given up on their resolutions, and you don't want to be one of those because you want a baby, right? So I recommend that you take one bad habit and replace it for one good habit. That way you've made 2 improvements because you've gotten rid of the bad habit and incorporated a new one. But it is so much easier to follow through on this. And if you're still smoking, I recommend that's what you begin with, because that's an absolute no-no if you're trying to conceive. And what you could do to replace that bad habit is to drink more water. Every time that you have a craving, that can be a trigger to you to drink a glass of water. And that works several ways. First of all, you are more aware of the fact that you're craving a cigarette at that moment. Secondly, you are doing something different, so you're breaking through that circuit, through that habit. And thirdly, you're hydrating yourself, which is so much better. If you're a non-smoker or you already quit, bravo. Let's find you another habit. Just do something simple. Maybe you've been always taking sugar in your coffee or your tea. Why don't you replace that with some stevia drops? I don't recommend the powder, but drops are great. Another super easy thing that you can do as well is maybe for dinner, fill up half of your plate with vegetables. That way you're crowding out room for carbs. So that's the bad habit. And then you're eating more vegetables, which is great. Antioxidants, vitamins, fiber, you name it. It's the stuff you want. If you're interested about this habit forming and breaking stuff, then I really recommend the book The Power of Habit. I will link it in the description below. I read it years and years ago, but it still made such an impact that I still think about it today, and I still talk about it today as well. Fertility resolution number 5 is not I, but we will make a fertility strategy. If you put in place a fertility strategy in advance of the year, then it will be so much easier to gain traction, because you know what? There is so much information on the internet. There are so many fertility practitioners, people that give massages, supplements, blog posts, videos, books, acupuncturists, you name it. And these can all be great, but they can never all be great for you. And the problem is that sometimes this means that you will start with something, but there is so much information out there that you keep jumping from one thing to another and never giving one thing enough time for it to actually make an impact on your health and on your fertility. If you have a strategy in advance though, then you have picked the things a lot more consciously, and then you're much more likely to stick with your own little program and have the results that you want. Of course, this doesn't mean that if you find something cool and new that you want to do, that you can't do it because it's not in your strategy. But if you have a strategy, you will think about the next new thing a lot more carefully instead of just jumping onto it, and will really benefit your relationship as well, because you have decided on a couple of things that you'll be doing in the coming year, in the coming months, and that way you'll both be on board. So what do I recommend for your fertility strategy? Well, number 1 is budget. Because it is so easy to overspend. There are so many things out there, from sperm-friendly lubricant to supplement combinations to meditation courses online to books, that you want to make sure that you have a budget in place in advance. And that way you can really enjoy the things that you choose because you have planned for it and you're not going over budget. Another thing you definitely need on the plan is your charting, because if you write it down, then you know you'll be doing it. And also see it as a project of you both, because if you are charting, it's about both your fertility, right? So it's great if your husband can be on board, if you can explain to him the charting stuff, or if you can go through the course together. I've got lots of couples that have done it together, and honestly, it's always the guys that ask me the most questions and seem to be most interested. Of course, I have to recommend homeopathic treatment, right, on your fertility strategy or plan, because hello, the success rates are so high. So it says something about how it is really possible for you to bring up your fertility naturally. I can't recommend anything better than homeopathy for you if you're trying to conceive. And it doesn't really matter if you've been trying for a while and you haven't been successful, or if you just started out. Another thing you want to put on are the supplements, because there are so many out there. Again, if you need some inspiration on which supplements you should be taking, then head on over to my other video that is on improving your egg quality naturally, because I mentioned several there. And there's also a video on implantation and how you can support it, which might be interesting to you as well. But if you start on one of the homeopathic plans with me, you don't have to worry about that, because I tailor all of these to you and I sent them out to you. And then there are all the other little things that you can put on. Diet choices. Are you going to incorporate more fish? Are you going to quit a certain product? Are you going to quit using aluminum deodorants? Are there any fertility massages that you want to incorporate? Is there a book you want to read? You know exactly the things that have crossed your path and that you find interesting and worthwhile. And don't forget about anything that has to do with self-care, obviously. If you want more tips on how you can conceive naturally this year, then click on the playlist on your screen right now. And if you found this video interesting, please like it. And don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already, and hit the notification bell so that you're notified the next time I upload new content, which is every Thursday. And in the meantime, see you in the next video.